Part 2. Welcome back to Journeyteaches. So here comes the faculty members or the professor's interview. There was only one professor, okay? So I was lucky enough to know the name of the professor on the day of the interview, because my interview was scheduled in the morning, but the professor was a little busy or so into another work, so he messaged me directly from his personal number on my WhatsApp that can we schedule the interview in the afternoon. So I was lucky enough to know, because he introduced as well, he introduced himself to me. So I was lucky enough to know the name of the professor. So I researched and I also read about the professor, what kind of research has he done, or what is his position in the university, in the college, in order to impress him in any way related to his works, and you know what I mean. The professor's interview, which was in the afternoon for me, was on time. It was sharp on time. Not a minute before, not a minute after. It was sharp on time. And it was a telephonic interview. There wasn't any video conference in any of the interviews of Jindal. There wasn't any video conference. There were only telephonic interviews. I had total 3 interviews. For OB Jindal. So I will tell you how. But this was the interview with one of the faculty members or the professor, you can say, is the second interview. First one was a screening. So the main part of getting into OP Jindal University for BA Honours in Liberal Arts and Humanities is how you do your faculty members interview. It is the main interview, so be prepared. It was my first interview in my life. Not in life actually, but related to these college admission processes, Indian college admission process. It was my first interview. Of course, I had done with the screening process, but formal and professional and earlier known, like I knew that I had that interview. So it was my first interview, and it was a very learnable experience. I learned a lot from that interview. I have one by one question in serial order because I recorded the entire call. I will not put in the call directly, of course, but I can tell the sequence-wise questions to you. So the first thing first, greetings, good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is. Ask about how are they doing, or how are you, ask these questions, and with a smiling tone as well. Do I need to tell these things as well? Or do you know? Obviously, first learning, let them speak. Let them speak. Do not interfere, and do not talk on your own, even if you are a talkative kid. Let them speak. Please be a good listener in an interview. Understand what they want to ask. Don't assume. They will also introduce themselves, so listen carefully. So the first question, which was asked to me, which was pointed on me indirectly, which was, can we start off by telling about yourself? Can we start off a little bit? Okay, wait, let me check. When I was giving my interview with the professor, it was very clear that he hasn't gone through my application before. He wasn't well aware, and he hasn't gone through my application before. So that's a plus point if you consider. The question, which was pointed on me indirectly, was, can we start off by telling a little more about yourself, please? Tell me about yourself. The next 2-3 questions were directly from what I have spoken in my introduction. Whatever I had said in my introduction, the following questions, the next 2-3 questions were based on that. Like, there were counter questions related to what I've spoken in my introduction and what were your learnings, why did you do that, or what were the challenges, and all in all. Next question. Why have you chosen to go for liberal arts program? This is the epic question when you are preparing for liberal arts interview. Again, a counter question from what I have answered earlier. Next question. Which subjects are you aiming to study in your undergraduation? Which he means to say that what are the subjects that you want to take as majors or minors in liberal arts undergraduation degree program. For answering this question, you have to make sure that you are well aware of the course structure and the subjects the university offers. There will be a lot of counter questions in the professional interview, but there weren't any technical questions. I was worrying before that maybe they ask subject specific questions or technical questions, but that wasn't the case. It was a general interview. He asked me general questions and the counter questions related to what I have spoken earlier. If that makes it easy for you, you have to tell them at once that what subjects do you want to study, because the first time I was saying that I want to make combinations of for this, and I want to study arts, I want to study maths. He again asked me which ones. So be very clear with your answers. Why do you want to make combinations, or why do you want to make interdisciplinary combinations of subjects? Give them the reason. I felt that he tried to confuse me as well. Yes, the interviewer will try to confuse you, will try to find mistakes and ask a lot of that confusing and tricky questions, counter questions. But you be confident with a smile, that's it. Interviewer will confuse you by saying, are you sure that you want to do this? Are you sure? Are you completely sure that you want to do this only? Next. So let's see that you have finished your undergraduation. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? The gentle question. He also gave me a situation to assume on the spot, like what subjects would you study in your post-graduation, because I think I came up with the word post-graduation in one of my answers. So he gave me that if you have to decide now, then what will be the subjects that you would prefer to study in your post-grad? What are your other hobbies? How do you like to spend your day? Like I said in one of my answers that I have completed this internship, so he asked me more about the internship, the details, what I've learned, what was the internship all about, the questions related to that. Next, any interest in sports? Question mark. Are you aware of the program at JSLH?
Yeah, I was wondering if you're aware that students are required to literally be on their toes, because there are readings that to go through to prepare for class. Some of these can be fairly complex. There are a lot of submissions, assignments, deadlines, presentations, projects. So it's a pretty demanding program. I wonder if you're aware of that.
Are you aware of that? Are you sure you want to do this? So this was an indirect question to why do you think that you are the suitable candidate for that program? You have to prove to them, you have to tell about all goody things about yourself, that why are you suitable for that program, or why should they take you. So I have shown you a little bit of proof as well that I have the recording. If you want it, tell me in the comments below. Hurry up. Next question. What are your thoughts about learning in the classroom? First and second is engaging with the people in the field. What are your thoughts about these two things separately?
There's maybe one thing. What are your thoughts about one is learning in the classroom? Second is engaging with various people in the field and using that as a learning opportunity. How do you think about these two learning approaches?
Understand the question first, take your time, then answer. don't assume. Last question. Can you guess? Any questions for me? As I told you before that I had that opportunity to study about my interviewer because I knew the name before. I knew the name beforehand. So I asked a question about his field. But unfortunately, I said that I'm interested in that, whatever his field is. So to my surprise, in the section of any questions for me, he asked me a question. There was a counter question for me in the last section as well. So as well, I answered, then he answered. He was waiting to ask a question to me when it was his turn. So, okay, bye. Pleasure talking to you. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Done with the interview. I wanted to know that how was my interview, and I also played a trick and asked him. I hope I was able to satisfy you with my answers. I hope I was able to satisfy you with my answers. So, but he was more clever, and he said, "It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye bye." But he said, "It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye bye." It was a 20 minutes long call. It was a 20-minute long call. So select a comfortable corner, guys, and not noisy background. There shouldn't be any background noise. Select a silent corner and do it. Be careful in the interview with the professor. It's the main and the important part of the admission in JFLH to be specific.